Many people, when they first encounter the teachings of the ancient Advaita Vedanta, they confuse it with nihilism, and even some of the critics of Advaita Vedanta point towards some of the teachings and concepts of Advaita Vedanta and talk about how Advaita Vedanta is life denying and it negates the world, it negates God, and it is similar to nihilism. This is absolutely not true. Instead, this is a misunderstanding or an incomplete understanding of what Advaita Vedanta is. Like I always say, Advaita Vedanta is not incomplete, but our understanding of Advaita Vedanta can be incomplete. With this, let us explore nihilism, what it is, and let us explore how Advaita Vedanta is very different and it takes us to the source of creation and the essence of reality through its teachings in this profound video. Let's start with nihilism. Nihilism is basically a philosophy or a kind of worldview which says there is nothing inherently real about anything. Nihilism essentially posits that life is meaningless and that existence has no inherent purpose. It's a philosophy that can lead to despair and disconnection. So it is a philosophy that rejects the existence of values, truth, and meaning. It is also associated with extreme pessimism and skepticism. So fundamentally, it is a very narrow and negative way to look at reality, at least in my opinion. But now, how can this be compared with the ancient Advaita Vedanta of Shankara? That is what we will explore next. First of all, let us understand why Advaita Vedanta is criticized a lot and why it is looked at as nihilism. There is a very popular method of understanding the ultimate reality in Advaita Vedanta, which was taught by Adi Shankaracharya himself. This is the method of Neti Neti, or not this, not this. The idea behind this method is that God cannot be defined in any way, God cannot be comprehended positively in any way because God is beyond mind and mind cannot accommodate or conceive God directly. So instead, if we remove all our identifications and if we remove all the false notions that is not God, then we will arrive at God. This is the idea behind Neti Neti. So through Neti Neti, Shankaracharya guides us towards that absolute reality. In his Nirvana Shatakam, he says, Mano buddhyahankara chittani naham na cha shrotra jihve na cha grana netre na cha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. He's telling here, I'm not the mind, I'm not the four aspects of the mind, I'm not the organs of perception. He goes on to say, I'm not the body, I'm not my relationships, etc. On the surface, this looks very pessimistic. When we say, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the world is not real, our relationships are not real, our attachments are not real. When we look at reality in this way, through Neti Neti, of course, it sounds similar to nihilism and it sounds very negative. But this is simply a step that we take in Advaita Vedanta to come to the understanding of who we are. At first, we negate the world and disidentify and detach ourselves from this external world to understand who we are in our essence as that infinite consciousness. Once we understand reality, once we understand consciousness, then we again go back to the world and embrace it for what it truly is. We will begin to look at the world as very real, more real than before. We will begin to look at the world as God. We will begin to look at the world as Brahman. That is the ultimate stage, and this negation is simply a step that we must take because we are too much involved with the world and we have so many misconceptions and identifications. So we must question our misconceptions and our identifications. We must overcome them and we must go within to find out the truth, and then we can come back and embrace this world for what it truly is. After this recognition, the world becomes more real to us. Our relationships will become more real to us. We will begin to see God in everything and everyone. That is the ultimate goal. I think now you can see how Advaita Vedanta is very, very different from nihilism, and negating the world is just the primary step, the first step that we take in this process. According to Advaita Vedanta, the world is nothing but God. The world is very real in its essence, but we are not perceiving the world for what it is. We are looking at this world in a dualistic way when it is not. We are looking at each other through separation, but we are one in our essence. This oneness is what we must understand first. A lot of people are talking a lot of things about Advaita Vedanta. Some of the channels that I respect a lot are talking about Adi Shankaracharya's Advaita Vedanta as something which is life denying, as something which is negative in some way. This is a huge misinterpretation and misunderstanding of Advaita Vedanta. Shankaracharya himself lived a full life. If we look at his own life as example, we can understand how much involved he was with the external world, building different temples, re-establishing Sanatana Dharma, bringing the culture together, starting the Kumbh Mela that we see today. So the amount of work he has done is unparalleled. I cannot come up with any other name of any other teacher or any other philosopher or a rishi or an avatar who has done so much for our Sanatana Dharma as Sri Adiguru Shankaracharya. So we should not judge such a profound philosophy by only dabbling with it on the surface level. When we go deep, we understand Vedanta for what it truly is. It is definitely not life denying, but it is a highest perspective. And for some people, the highest perspective will sometimes feel like it is life denying when it is not. Now, the roots of nihilistic thought can be traced back through various philosophical traditions. It might have emerged as a response to existential questions, often in times of social upheaval and spiritual crisis. And people who think nihilism is real and there is no inherent meaning to this world, I think for you, Advaita Vedanta will make a lot of sense because you are halfway there. You already understand the emptiness of the world, but then you must go within and find out the truth about this world. So, Advaita Vedanta is a very different approach and worldview compared to nihilism. And in fact, we can say it is the opposite worldview. But still, negating the world is a step that is essential in Advaita Vedanta. But what we arrive at the end is to the Purnam, the infinite, the completeness of what reality is. And even the concept of Maya is hugely misunderstood by many. Maya doesn't mean that the world is inherently unreal, but Maya simply means that the apparent dualistic world from the perspective of avidya is unreal. Maya is simply the way we perceive the world through avidya. Our avidya causes Maya. And when we look at the world without avidya through knowledge and wisdom, we see the world for what it is. We see through Maya and we see Brahman or God within the world. Now, what are some of the practical applications that we can take to come out of this nihilistic thought process and dispassion towards the world? Number one is meditation. When we go within, when we go beyond the mind, when we go beyond our thoughts, we slowly begin to tap into the essence of who we are. And that essence, when we touch that more and more, we begin to experience more joy, fulfillment, purpose, and clarity on what reality actually is. And self-inquiry is another tool that we can make use of. Consistently thinking about and contemplating on who we are in our essence, beyond this body, beyond this mind, can be really powerful. And simply awareness, being aware of our thought patterns, our emotions, our surroundings, and ourself as who we are, can help a lot in our journey. And after this, if you want to, pursue more practical steps to take to make conscious creation and the principles of Vedanta a part of your life to live a more fulfilled and a joyful life, then check out our community come learning platform, the Advaita Conscious Society. And in order to explore more about ACS and conscious creation, we have created a new training video which explains to you what conscious creation is. And at the end, you also get a chance to book a call with our team to know more and join our community. So, check the link in the description. And next, you can check out this important video that we had made on the famous Nirvana Shatakam, through which you can understand all this much better. And I will see you in the next one. Subscribe to Advaita to wake up. Shivoham.